Wow. Wow. Let me just start by saying that. Now let's get into it a little bit. So, the cast of this movie is pretty much all different than the cast of the last movie. You had Nikolai Leon or Leon, Leon. I'm not sure which way it's pronounced. He played Christopher Robin in the first film. And in this film, he was played by Scott Chambers, Louis Santer as Tigger, Eddy Mackenzie as Piglet, Ryan Oliva as Winnie the Pooh, Marcus Massey as Owl. Let's see. Kelly Ryan Sanson played Mia. Let's see. Chrissie Wunna played the nurse. You also had Alec Newman as Alan Robin, Tallulah Evans as Lexi, and Simon Callow as Cavendish. I forgot how they pronounce that name in there. Now, I will say, so I've talked about the first movie before. The first movie had a budget of just under $100,000, and the box office was $5.2 million. So, and keep in mind, that movie wasn't even, I don't even think that movie was played in every single state. I think it was in select states, and it was only in theaters for less than a week, and they still managed to get that much off of it. So think about how much more they could have gotten if they played it in every theater for at least 2 weeks. So that was kind of a surprise to me and to a lot of people, whether you liked it or not. And I thought it was all right. The first movie, I talked about it before. I think I gave it about a 6, maybe 6.5. This one, I would say, probably gets a 7. Now, keep in mind this. Like I said, the budget on the last film was just under $100,000. The budget on this one is $1 million because they made such a success off the last movie. And generally, as a rule, with most movies, regardless of the genre, action, comedy, horror, romance, drama, whatever, crime, thriller, when they do a movie and it's incredibly successful, especially if it goes past their expectations, they tend to do a sequel. Now, a lot of times the sequels are better, a lot of times the sequels are worse. It really just depends on the franchise you're talking about. So with them taking that much of a jump on the budget between the two movies, it's also very possible that this movie could lose money. And why do I say that? Because it's only in theaters for 3 days. This movie just came out a few hours ago. And Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday this week is what they're playing it. And by looking at the show times here, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I see that they're playing it in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 theaters in Michigan, or at least in this area, in the Wayne County area. And that's mostly between MJR, Imagine, Cinemark, Phoenix, AMC. They're only playing it at 7 o'clock. I think a couple theaters had it at 7 and 9, and that's about it. Now, I was in the theater, and surprisingly, they had it in a room that had about 100 seats, and I would say probably 30 to 40 of those seats were filled. That's way more than what I expected. A lot of people disliked the first movie so much that they were like, nope, not even interested in the sequel. But enough people liked the first one to where, again, there's a sequel. But again, the budget on the movie was $1 million, so who knows? A lot of people felt they wasted their money on the last movie, so there's no telling what the end result is going to be. It'll be on streaming in 2 or 3 months. I'm assuming Peacock or Max. Now, here's a brief synopsis of it. Not wanting to live in the shadows any longer, Pooh, Piglet, Owl, and Tigger take their fight to the town of Ashton, leaving a bloody trail of death and mayhem in their wake. And they're determined to finish off Christopher Robin once and for all. Now, here's one thing I'm surprised about. Now, again, this movie just came out a few hours ago. Right now, the time is, okay, so it's 2 a.m. my time. And I saw this movie at 7 p.m. So, yeah, 7 hours ago it came out. And Internet Movie Database has this movie at a 52%. Google users have it at an 89%. And Now, you may not believe me, but right after you see this video, go to Google and look at it yourself, because I guarantee you this is what it says. And I'm assuming that this is going to change soon. Rotten Tomatoes actually has it at a 100%. Do you know what they gave the first movie? Again, look it up if you don't believe me. They gave the first movie a 3%. 3%. They gave they gave Avengers Endgame like what, 95 to 97%, which I thought they would have given them 100% because that was like the highest grossing movie of all time. Take away the first Avatar. Now, I'm not going to spoil too much of it in case you plan on watching it. Again, I think that Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday are pretty odd days to release a movie. I mean, if they were going to only have it 3 days, at least have it be Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Saturday, Sunday, Monday. You know, or I would even say Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. But to release it just right in the middle of the week, that's bizarre. That's bizarre. Now, I will say that I think this movie was arguably bloodier and gorier than the first film. At first, I didn't think that was possible because when I saw the first film, I was like, this movie is bloodier and gorier than your average Jason, Freddy, Halloween, Scream film. You thought those movies were bloody. This one topped that as far as the guts, everything like that. And I think this movie topped even that. I don't know how it can get any worse than that. I mean, maybe if you include, I guess, Saw or Hostel or anything of that level. And let's see what some of the reviews the audience said on this one. Let's look at, I'm sure there are some 1 stars here. Oh, I'm surprised. I don't see anything under 1 star. 2 star, 3 star, nothing. 4 star, okay, 5 star. All these people gave it a 5 star. One person here said, it was better than the first. Saw it in theaters, loved the gore, had me squirming and jumping out of my seat. I also found it such a twist when they explain how they were created. Another person says, I love it. It was a fun watch. You can really tell the creators put a lot of care into this movie. Can't wait for the other films. I'll get to that in a second, by the way, because what I'm getting ready to tell you is beyond bizarre. This is a masterpiece. I give it 10 out of 10. This was shockingly really good. Good story with some good twists. Really looking forward to what's next. Okay, I'm not going to read that one. First of all, that wasn't even in the movie. That was just, somebody just made something up right there. I'm not going to say that on this show. But I swear if you rate this movie 1 star, you're either you're based, you didn't watch the movie, or you just gave it a 1 star, or you hate on everything. And I've seen some people like that. 2 words after seeing Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2, beautiful and brutality. I think fatality is a better word for that, especially with this movie right here. I mean, this is worse than Mortal Kombat style fatalities up in this movie. Now, there were a number of sources that seem to have commented on this movie. You see Variety, Rotten Tomatoes, Sci-Fi Now, Screen Rant, Games Radar, Comic Book Resources. One person on Rotten Tomatoes says, this flawed but enjoyable sequel defies expectations, although low ends and outperforms its predecessor on most levels. Grotesque and silly, a considerable improvement on the original film, with lost, damaged childhood always lying at its very heart in trauma, never truly dead and buried. Now, I can't wait for there to be a review on Common Sense Media, and I'm already going to make a prediction about that. I don't know what they're going to rate the movie, but I'm going to guess it's probably going to have more kids commenting on it than adults, as it should not be, because as you've seen me cover on this show many times before, I mean, I've done this with Scream, Freddy, Halloween, Jason movies, all the slasher films that I normally talk about, where it would be like 100 people giving their comments and their takes on it, and it would be like 35 adults and 65 kids, or 40 adults and 60 kids. And it's like, there's no way, absolutely, that My parents would have let me watch any of that at that age, so I don't know how they're watching it. I mean, I kind of have an idea. Let me take that back. Now these days, parents will watch stuff with their kids, but I got to be honest with you. This one was better than the first film. So yeah, I think I can give this one a 7. Now, do I think that there's room for improvement? Yes. And here's what I want to tell you too. Now, do I think there's going to be a third movie? I don't know. It's kind of too early to tell. Again, the movie just came out 7 hours ago. So give it a couple months. See what the box office looks like. Again, $1 million budget. They might be lucky enough to get another 5-6 million at the box office. They might somehow overperform. They might go up to 10 million, 12 million. Or, worst case scenario, they'll lose money, which is very possible. And of course, that's a very common thing with horror films. It happens. I mean, even some action movies lost money. Comedy movies lost money. Anything could happen. But here's what I want to tell you. So, the 2 producers of the film, let me go to the Wikipedia page right quick so I can get their names, just so I should have been on there earlier. Okay, so it was produced by Scott Jeffrey and Rhys Frake Waterfield. Now, before the movie plays in theaters, they're doing like this 5-minute video where they're talking about these other projects that they're working on. And I think I made a prediction about this before. I don't remember if I said it on the show, but I've definitely said this outside the show many times. I said, if they can take Winnie the Pooh, which is a kid's character, a beloved childhood character, cartoon character, who was very loved by toddlers and preteens alike, and maybe anybody else who enjoys it, they take that person and make him a serial killer. A serial killer who's worse than Jason, Freddy, Michael, and Ghostface combined. If they can do that, and they make a movie out of it, and they can still be successful, then that means that they can just take any cartoon character or any childhood thing that we watched, and they can make a horror movie out of that. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if eventually they do a horror film out of the Teletubbies and have them running through the fields and stuff with butcher knives and chainsaws and machetes and scythes, all that stuff. Like, wouldn't be surprised if they take something like Little Bear and make those characters killers. Here's what they did. Here's what they said. And by the way, there is evidence of this. And look it up on YouTube if you don't believe me. They are going to make horror films out of these 3. Peter Pan, Bambi, and Pinocchio. Yes, you just heard that right. I think one of them is going to be called, the Peter Pan one is going to be called Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare. Bambi, The Reckoning, I think that's what that one's called, and Pinocchio Unstrung. And it's supposed to be something about Pinocchio killing people and wearing their skin on him so he could feel more human or whatever that is. And listen, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Anything could be a movie these days or a show. If you have enough people watching it and it makes us money, hey, kudos to you for being successful. Anything could be a movie these days. Anything. I'm telling you, it's wild. And like I said, in the spirit of all honesty, this one was better than the first film. If you haven't seen the first film, it's available to watch on Peacock. I'm assuming it's still on Peacock. Let me double check that. The first one. Yeah, it's on Peacock. If you don't have that, you could rent it on YouTube or Amazon. It'd probably be cheaper to rent it on Amazon, just $2 less. YouTube has it rented for $5. Amazon has it for only $3. So it's wild. So it's going to be in theaters Wednesday and Thursday this week on the 20. This week is the 26th, 27th, and 28th. And I don't know the show times for the theaters in other states or other counties, but if you're in Wayne County or if you're anywhere around Westland, Romulus, Wayne, Southgate, Inkster, Canton, whatever, Novi, it'll be at MJR, Cinemark, Imagine, only for those 3 days. and it's playing at 7 p.m. So if you want the big screen experience, I'd suggest go see it. Or if you'd rather wait till it comes on streaming, hey, that's fine too. I didn't see the first one in theaters. So yeah, overall, I give it a 7. Great job to the cast. And by the way, let me just throw in a funny note in this one. Very funny. Kind of cheesy, but very funny. Piglet was much fatter in this movie. I know that's not important. I just wanted to say it. Yeah, Piglet gained at least a good 80 to 90 pounds in this movie. Maybe 100. Just throwing that out there. So anyway, that's what that movie's about. Once the box office numbers come in the end, I'll do like an updated review in a couple months. And I got more movies and shows to talk about. So like and subscribe and follow me on Instagram.